One thing that can be really frustrating as a parent is you see your child struggling with a specific subject. They need help with their homework, or maybe they're asking questions on their homework that, you as a parent do not feel equipped to answer. IXL Learning is an online learning program for kids. It covers math, language arts, science, and social studies. IXL is designed to help them really understand and master topics in a fun way with positive feedback. I remember how much Eleanor struggled with math, and I was not able to help her, and having IXL would have really, really benefited her.
If your child is struggling, this is the smartest investment you can make. IXL is used in 95 of the top 100 school districts in the U.S. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Happier listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/happier. Visit IXL.com/happier to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price.
Hello, we're here for More Happier, a podcast where we get more happier. Today's episode will focus on sharing some practical advice for recent graduates. We're in graduation season now, and that got me reflecting on my own various graduations from high school, from college, from law school, and also the high school graduations and college graduation of my daughters. When my younger daughter, Eleanor, graduated from high school, I was thrilled and honored to be invited to give the commencement address. For that occasion, I wanted to explore transcendent, timeless themes. I wanted to tell a few good stories, maybe get a few jokes in, and I wanted to be brief. That meant that there were many concrete, useful suggestions that did not make it into the actual commencement address that I delivered. Nevertheless, I couldn't resist writing up everything that I wanted to say, even if I couldn't include it. So while I actually delivered the profound commencement address on that graduation day, here I will share the practical commencement address that I never did deliver. Coming up, I will share my list of my simple secrets of adulthood.
There are some stories about our father's life that I truly never get tired of hearing. From hilarious to heartfelt, tear-jerking to plot-twisting, his retelling of the events always brings me joy. Just in time for Father's Day, I found the perfect gift that captures all his stories for our family forever. It's called StoryWorth. StoryWorth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your father or father figure's life for years to come. And Gretch, you get a book of all these stories. And I love just keeping a book on the coffee table, and anyone from any generation can see a story from Dad, like what was his favorite toy or what was his first job.
Each week, StoryWorth emails your loved one a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. Give all the fathers in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years. StoryWorth. Right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to StoryWorth.com/happier. That's StoryWorth.com/happier to save $10 on your first purchase. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. I now work with a team, and I am here to say that finding the right candidate and hiring the right candidate is one of the very biggest and most important challenges to anyone who has a small business.
LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Gretchen. That's linkedin.com/Gretchen to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, so here are my simple secrets of adulthood that I would have given as the commencement address. Now, of course, I would have given initial introductory remarks, just as I did in the regular commencement address. But after those standard introductory remarks, this is how I would have continued. For years, I've been collecting my simple secrets of adulthood, the lessons I've gleaned with time and experience. This is wisdom that I gained the hard way through trial and error and experience. I hope that perhaps I can save you graduates from making the mistakes that I've made. Out of my hundreds of secrets of adulthood, I wanted to suggest some that seem particularly relevant to your stage of life as graduates when you're grappling with a lot of change and a lot of decisions. I offer these observations for your consideration. First, working is one of the most dangerous forms of procrastination. Because when we're working, we may kid ourselves that we're being productive, when in fact, we are just postponing doing the work that we're really supposed to be doing. Number two, the place that hurts isn't always the place that's injured. I learned this from back pain, that the place that hurts isn't always the place that's injured. But it's also metaphorically true, because sometimes we notice that something's hurting, but we haven't identified the problem. Sometimes we're not honest with ourselves about what's bothering us. And so identifying the pain point is sometimes just the first step in figuring out what is actually the problem. Number three, if you can't find something, clean up. This is just surprisingly true. Anytime I can't find something, instead of running around my apartment frantically looking for it, if I take 10 minutes and just start cleaning up, almost always whatever it is that I'm looking for turns up. Number four, it's okay to ask for help. Why is this so hard? I do not know. No one is surprised if you ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. And yet over and over, I have to remind myself, it's okay to ask for help. Number five, you can choose what you do, but you can't choose what you like to do. This is important to remember as you're trying to have fun as you're going through life. If you're trying to decide where you want to spend your time, energy, or money, you can choose what you do within reason, but you can't choose what you like to do. And what you like to do may be very different from what the other people around you like to do, or what you expect that you'd like to do, or what you wish you'd like to do. It's important to be honest with ourselves. Number six, if you don't know what to do with yourself, go outside or go to sleep. If you're restless, if you're bored, if you're lethargic, if you're feeling down, almost always going outside or going to sleep will help. Number seven, be polite and be fair. When I was working at the Federal Communications Commission, not long after I graduated from law school, I had a terrific boss, a very stern woman, a few words. And I was getting a big promotion, and I was worried about whether I would be able to do a good job. And she told me, be polite and be fair, and you'll be fine. And she was right. Being polite and being fair can take us far. Number eight, what we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while. So it's better to go for a 1 mile run every day than a 5 mile run once a month. Or it's better to eat pretty healthily most days than to eat extremely healthy once in a while. When it comes to habits, what we do every day matters more than what we do once in a while. Number 9. Now, This is useful when it comes to work. Try never to ask for an extension on an assignment. Now, this was a lesson that I learned the hard way in college and in law school. It's still going to be due. Things pile up. If you're going to do it, it's just better to try to hit it, that first deadline, rather than extending and extending. I saw people really get themselves into tough situations. Try never to ask for an extension. Number 10, every day ask, what's something that I can do to put my values into the world? Now, of course, this means you have to know your values. Maybe your ideal is kindness. Maybe your ideal is justice. Whatever your ideals and your values are, try to find ways to put those values into the world, into practice. One of the things that makes us happier is to feel right, to feel that our life does reflect our values. And so it's a good question to ask ourselves every day. Are we living up to our values? And how are we putting them out into the community? Number 11, happiness doesn't always make you feel happy. Now, this is something that I can say because I'm not a scientist. If you were a scientist, you would have to define happy, and you couldn't say something like happiness doesn't always make you feel happy because that's a contradiction. That's a paradox. But I can say it because what I mean by that is sometimes we do things to put our values into the world, or sometimes we do things that don't make us feel happy in the moment, but that overall increase our happiness. So happiness doesn't always make us feel happy, but over the long run, it makes us feel happy. So it's a question of thinking about the present and the short term and what makes our life happier overall. Number 12, try by 25. Many lifelong preferences are set by young adulthood. So try new things now. As graduates, if you're under the age of 25, it's a great time to try new cuisine, to listen to new kinds of music. One of the things that I learned when I was writing my book, Life in 5 Senses, is that our tastes get set. And later on, it's harder to develop a fondness for something. And so if you try it by 25, you're more likely to enjoy it for your whole life. Number 13, don't treat a gift like a burden. Another way to think about it is, do you have to do it or do you get to do it? Another way to think about it is to ask, is it a bug or a feature? Sometimes the very things that we're complaining about are the things that we love and wouldn't trade away. I remember when I was in college, I was an English major and a friend was an art major, and we were complaining about all the work we had to do as seniors. And then my friend said to me, just think, one day we'll look back and we'll say, hey, we were complaining because I had to paint some pictures and you had to read some novels. And I've never forgotten that. Don't treat a gift like a burden. Number 14, one of the best ways to make yourself happy is to make other people happy. One of the best ways to make other people happy is to be happy yourself. This took me a long time to understand. I think it's much more widely understood that one of the best ways to make ourselves happy is to make other people happy. But it is also true that one of the best ways to make other people happy is to be happy ourselves. Robert Louis Stevenson wrote, "There is no duty we so much underrate as the duty of being happy." Happy people help to make other people happier. So by working towards our own happiness, we're also contributing to the happiness of others. Research shows that happier people volunteer more time, they donate more money, they have healthier habits, they make better leaders, better team members, better friends, better neighbors. They have more emotional wherewithal to turn outward, so they're more interested in the problems of the world and the problems of other people. So if it is selfish to be happier, we should be selfish, if only for selfless reasons. Number 15, something that can be done at any time is often done at no time. This is why I'm a big fan of any catalyst for reflection, whether that's a birthday or New Year's Day or July 2nd being halfway day. Often we just need something to remind us to stop, think, and ask ourselves what's something that can make us happier. Because we might think, oh, I would love to start a book group. Soon I'll start a book group. Or, oh yeah, I need to start going to bed on time. I'll do that at any time. Or I'll make a plan to visit my hometown. But something that can be done at any time is often done at no time. Coming up, I'll finish my list. But first, this break.
The weather's getting warmer, so it's time to say goodbye to jackets and sweaters and hello to shorts and tees. Gretchen, I am always on the hunt for the perfect t-shirt, and I found it at Quince. So well priced, such good quality. I am in love with the slub crew neck tee. I have it in white. I'm getting it in black, possibly multiples. I love it so much.
The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the costs of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. Get warm weather ready with Quince. Go to quince.com/Gretchen for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/Gretchen to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gretchen.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. As your kids get older, some things about parenting get easier. They can make their own snacks and make their bed and do their laundry. But others don't, like having that conversation about money. The fact is, kids won't really know how to manage their money until they're actually in charge of it. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families. Parents can send money to their kids and keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens build money confidence and lifelong financial literacy skills. Jack has Greenlight, Gretchen, and he loves it. If I had Greenlight when we were young and I knew if I mowed the lawn, mom and dad would put money on my account, I for sure would have mowed the lawn more happily.
Millions of parents and kids are learning about money on Greenlight. It's the easy, convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and families to navigate life together. Sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/happier. That's greenlight.com/happier to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/happier. Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just the house or property. It's the location and neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, and transportation options. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking deep.
Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about local schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know all in one place. Homes.com. We've done your homework.
Number 16. When packing an item that might leak, put it in a plastic bag. Let's just say I learned this through bitter experience. You will never regret putting that tube of something into a waterproof bag. Number 17, mishaps often make the best memories. Mishaps are often super annoying when they are happening, but looking back, they are often the times that stand out in our memories most vividly and often that we find ourselves laughing about. So it may be comforting to remember, yeah, something has really gone wrong, but later I will enjoy looking back on it. Number 18. If you accept the blame when you deserve it, people will give you responsibility. This is advice that I got from my father when I was in college, and I have found it to be true so many times. Often it's tempting to think, well, I should deflect the blame, or people will think less of me if I admit that I did something wrong or that I made a mistake. But in fact, if we accept the blame when we deserve it, people understand that we recognize that we did something wrong, that we're willing to address it, and that's what makes them want to give us responsibility. Number 19, the more you put in, the more you get out. This is true of just about everything. The more you put into reading a novel, the more you put into planning a vacation, the more you put into understanding astronomy. The more you put in, the more you get out. Number 20, get your driver's license. You will be very happy later in life if you have your driver's license. It's a bit of an undertaking to get a driver's license. Get it when you're young. You will be happy later. I say this as someone who does not like to drive, and yet I am very happy that I have my driver's license. Number 21, don't do something to make yourself feel better if it just ends up making you feel worse. Sometimes when we do something to give ourselves a bit of comfort or a bit of a lift, it makes us feel better in the moment, but then looking back on it, we just wish we hadn't done it. So try to look for healthy treats. Find ways to get yourself a feeling of comfort and energy with something that is not going to make you feel worse. Something like a crossword puzzle is better than something like an extra brownie. Number 22, by doing a little bit each day, you can get a lot accomplished. We often overestimate what we can do in a short amount of time, and we underestimate what we can do over a long period of time if we just do a little bit each day. So if there's some big project that you need to tackle or some big undertaking that feels overwhelming, just try to do a little bit each day, but to do it very consistently. And you will be surprised over time how much you can get accomplished. Number 23, somewhere keep an empty shelf. Somewhere, keep a junk drawer. I love my empty shelf because to me it represents possibility and openness and the sense of having a broad margin to my life, which I love. But I also love a junk drawer. I like opening up a drawer and just not knowing what's there, not knowing what I'm going to find. There's serendipity. It's a place to put everything that doesn't have a place. I love an empty shelf and I love a junk drawer. Number 24, when you can't decide between two courses of action, choose the bigger life. Sometimes when we have to make a decision, the pros and the cons seem equally balanced. It feels like there's no way to make a decision because they're both equally balanced. But often when I have stopped to say, okay, I feel like the pros and the cons lists are the same length, but which choice represents the bigger life? Almost always, it's very obvious which choice represents the bigger life. And that is a great way to make a decision. In my own life, I couldn't decide whether or not our family should get a dog. I felt like the pros and the cons were perfectly balanced. And then I said to myself, but for our family, what's the bigger life? And I realized, of course, for our family, the bigger life is to get a dog. And we got a dog, and we're so happy with our dog, Barnaby. Number 25. Sometimes to keep going, you have to allow yourself to stop. We need to take breaks. We need to feed our energy. We need to be reasonable with setting boundaries for ourselves. If you're going to keep going, you have to allow yourself to stop. And then finally, number 26 is hell is other people and heaven is other people. Now, some credit for that last simple secret of adulthood goes to Jean-Paul Sartre, and he's right. Hell is other people. I remember my mother once remarking, without any rancor, just matter-of-factly, everything would be so easy if it weren't for people. And that is true. But what Sartre didn't write, and what's also true, is that heaven is other people. As we go through life, what matters most are our relationships with other people. In fact, when people ask me, what's the secret to happiness? If you had to pick one area to work on, what would it be? If I had to choose just one area, I'd pick relationships. Ancient philosophers and contemporary scientists agree. To be happy, we need enduring bonds. We need to belong. We need to get support. And just as important, we need to be able to give support. We have to cultivate relationships with the people close to us. And we also have to cultivate relationships to the people of our larger community. And that's why, graduates, in your next stages of life, when you're spending your precious time, energy, and money, anything that broadens or deepens your relationships is probably a good choice. So as a bonus, here are a few additional simple secrets of adulthood specifically for relationships. Number 1, frequency of contact is more important than duration of contact. Number 2, one of the best ways to make friends is to make friends with the friends of your friends. There's no easier way to say that, but if you're trying to make friends, think of the people who are friends with your friends and become friends with those friends. Number 3, Give warm hellos and goodbyes. Show people that you're glad to see them. Acknowledge the fact that they're walking away. It makes us all feel like people are paying attention to us. Number 4, to make friends, join or start a group. This is a great way to forge relationships. It's easier sometimes than making one-on-one friendships. Also, sometimes working with people is easier than just socializing with people, and you can have a group that's working towards an aim, or you can have a group that's just meeting for fun. Number 5, when you can, make the effort to say, this made me think of you. It could be a photo. It could be an article. It could be something funny you see on the street. People like to know that you're in their thoughts. Number 6, remember, what's fun for other people may not be fun for you, and vice versa. Create your relationships and socialize in the ways that are right for you. Number 7, cut people slack. Except in the face of overwhelming evidence of bad intentions, assume the best. And number 8, show up. In a world full of screens, there's nothing like being there in person. So that's the list I wrote for my undelivered commencement address. For the conclusion, I would have given the same conclusion as the profound version. I enjoyed writing both the profound version and the practical version. But what did I miss? If you want to listen to the actual commencement address that I gave at my daughter's high school graduation, I'll include a link in the show notes. I hope this episode is making you feel more happier. Congratulations to all of this year's graduates and their families. Remember, the best time to start a happiness project is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. From the Onward Project.